Lino, I know you've been looking for years at flatbeds. Why this one? Why now?
You're right. We were looking for a few years, and there was a machine. There were a lot of machines out there. Some did some things better than others, and but for us, I was looking for a printer that really was going to work to our workflow. Not that I had to adjust my workflow to the printer, and this one allowed me to do that. I could print full sheets at high quality and at fast pace, at high speed. It allowed me to do individual pieces, whether they were aluminum or wood or acrylic or what have you. And the method of it feeding through the machine was pretty quick. It was a production mode or production style of printing. It wasn't like pause, reset the machine, and it was just a push and play for each individual set of substrates.
Lino, what have you realized in true savings with this printer?
Really a couple of things. The first day that we had the printer up and running, we produced 16 4x8 sheets of 3 mil PVC and watched it go through the machine seamlessly, printed all 16 sheets. I stacked them off on the side, and then I was looking at it and going, okay, so if I was to do this in vinyl, I would have had to print all 16 sheets, which is about 200 feet of vinyl. And I started calculating how much that was, and okay, that's about a couple of $100, give or take. And then I'd have to cut them all up and tape them all on the PVC and then run them through the laminator. And so that saved me approximately 3 to 4 hours worth of time. So it saved me vinyl, which was a couple of $100, and it saved me labor, which was 3 or 4 hours. And in a shop like this, where we produce a lot of signs, time is money. So that was key for me.
Lino, I know you bought one of the upgrades. Can you give us a little information about why you bought the upgrade you did and why not the other ones?
Really the only upgrade that we bought on this machine were the extension tables. Personally, I don't see how you can really work without the extension tables. If you put a 4x8 or a 4x10 or a 5x through the machine, you need the support on either side to keep the material from bowing in the center, which creates head strikes. So that was the reason why I absolutely needed to have the extension tables. As far as the white option, I guess for some shops, if you have enough white work to produce on white material, it's a good option. We didn't have that kind of business. If down the road, if we find some of that business, we can always purchase the white option and put it on the machine. The roll-to-roll was something we really didn't look into because we had 2 other solvent printers, which we figured we were going to print from the solvent printers directly to the banner material. But there is a benefit to running it through the machine. Prints it about the same pace, maybe a hair quicker, but it does come out of the machine perfectly dry, ready to roll up and send out the door. So more and more we're starting to see that might be an option that may be in the cards.
I know there's been some learning curve. You've had a different software, a different machine. Can you talk to us a little bit about the learning curve?
Yeah, that's a big one. Learning curve, as far as running the machine itself, it was not that big a deal. Once you learn the buttons and what to push and what you have to do for different substrates, that was pretty plug and play. The maintenance on the machine was an eye-opener. It's not like the solvent printers where you clean it once a week and then that's pretty much it. This machine requires a lot more hands-on maintenance. The rip is, we went to the Onyx rip, which we were accustomed to, the Wasatch rip, and the VersaWorks. So not only were we learning a new printer, but we were learning a new software, and the RIP software is pretty intense. So we've had a couple of seminars, web seminars that we do through Advantage Sign Supply, and those have been pretty helpful for my guys in learning some new tricks and tips on how to get through some of that. Also, HP did come by and give us a 2-3 days seminar on that as well. But that part of it's been, again, it's just a learning curve, figuring out the software. Color management is always going to be an issue, and it's again an issue here, trying to match colors with this printer along with your other equipment that you have in your shop so that you can coordinate the colors. That's always going to be, an issue that everybody's going to have to deal with. But other than that, it's been an awesome experience. Learning curve, but it's been an awesome experience. Good.
Lino, I know you did some build out, you did some remodeling, changed some things in your workflow. Give us a little idea of what you did there.
Well, we opened up a very large can to get this baby in, but once we knocked out a few walls and got it in the shop, there were a couple of things we had to do. First, we had to get rid of all the carpeting that surrounds the machine, so we went to a vinyl floor for that, so it eliminated as much static as possible. The static is not the friend of this printer. The other thing is the workflow on how the substrates actually enter the machine, exit the machine, and then from that point on, you have a completed sign, which then, if it's a full sheet, well, that's great. You take it off the machine, put it in the corner, call the customer, and the job's done. But if you have to print to a full sheet and then cut them up to size, well, now you're handling a sign that's already produced and ready to go. And now you have to bring it in the back, and you have to cut it, and you have to saw it, and you have to file it, and you have to trim it. So there's some learning experience there as far as, you're not dealing with a completed sign yet. Now you got to bring it into a dirty environment and try to keep it neat and clean. So there's some things that you have to do to try to keep those signs, looking perfect before they go out the door. Maybe even pre-cutting all your substrates, if that's an advantage, depending on the quantity and so forth, so on. The other thing is, depending on how much room you have for this piece of equipment. I don't have a huge shop, so you take a 4x8 off the machine, you now have to horse that around in a shop and get it to the back or get it here and get it there. So the workflow is a little bit different. It's not as easy as it was when you put a substrate on a bench, put vinyl on it, trimmed it with an X-Acto blade, and it was back to perfect. So, you might want to look into talking to somebody that has one in an environment like this, as opposed to a big warehouse environment where there's not as much room, as to how to coordinate things so that you're not interrupting the other work that's going on in the shop.
Lino, I know that you looked for a while, you made a decision on the machine. Give me a final opinion of, did you make the right move? Was this the right time for you on this printer?
I would love to tell you that the economy was booming right now. I'd love to really have this thing kicked into high gear, but I absolutely love the machine. I mean, thumbs up all the way. I would do it again tomorrow, for sure. The printer is working perfectly, and it really suits my type of work. Absolutely.
Perfect.